Thanks for watching our special preview of the 2016 BMW Hong Kong Derby. When it comes to trainers here at Sha Tin, there's been no one more successful than John Moore. He caught up with Doug Chalmers to reflect on past glories and also look ahead to the four runners that he's got in this year's race.
John, firstly, the BMW Derby. What does this race mean to you as a trainer?
Well, on the local scene, it's the race that everybody focuses on. But the owners, the racing public. It's our blue ribbon event, and to have a horse or horses that can be very competitive in this four-year-old race is really something. And when owners give us orders, especially myself and George, they're always looking for Derby possibles. And this year we've been very, very lucky in having four participants.
You have to rewind back to 1995 for the first time you won the race with Makapura.
Star.
Do you remember it well?
I remember it well, yeah. I remember he ran second or third the lead up. A New Zealand horse that we sourced out of New Zealand. A real war horse. I think he won first up over 1400. Won a cup race with Eric St. Martin and went on to winning the Champions in Chater Cup. He did everything. And that was the first of my, serious Group 1 horses.
Emotionally, can you remember the occasion, what the feelings were like after winning such a big race?
Yeah, being the first one, and as we said, it's limited to four-year-olds, but being the number one four-year-old race, blue ribbon event for the whole season, it was great getting that monkey off my back and winning my first Derby. And Makapura Star not only won the Derby, but as I said, he was quite a horse. He went on to win, I think it was 2 Champions, Chater Cups, Gold Cups, won the Derby and everything. So that was sort of the springboard to greater things.
The next victory came in 2006 with Viva Pataka, a horse very close to your heart. Tell us about that performance and what that meant for you.
We managed to find him in Sir Mark Prescott's yard. Temperamental fellow, but once he came into Hong Kong, got into a routine and everything, he, even from day one, was showing us a lot of talent prior to looking towards the Derby. And then after that, he just did everything right. Horse of the Year, won the Derby, won a lot of other big races. So, yeah, very dear to the heart. And that really set the stable off. And then, of course, Darren Beadman arrived, who was very much an integral part of really putting the Moore stable on the map.
2009, you obviously won with Collection with Darren on board. Yeah. And then in 2014, Designs on Rome, beating Able Friend so closely. How thrilling was that race?
Well, that's about as thrilling as you can get, right? When Able Friend found his with Designs on Rome always coming on the outside and kicking, and then all of a sudden Able Friend gets his run on the inside and challenges, and they both go locked together to the line with Able Friend probably, or everybody understanding that he just doesn't get the 2000. But what a race that was, and it's something that I do replay when I'm probably a little on the downside. When I go back home, I might just rerun that Derby and it's a remembrance day with respect to what a fight between two equine greats.
Talk to us about Werther, a horse who burst onto the scene here, winning on International Day on debut, something we don't see too often. He's come second to Sun Jewelry twice now. Is this his race, with a step up to 2,000 metres?
Horses that can win first up like he did in facile manner, immediately tells me we've got a very good horse on our hands. And then to run second to Sun Jury on 2 occasions was, a little bit disconcerting in the sense that we didn't win, but we knew we had a top horse on our hands. So going into the Derby, knowing it's 2,000 metres, knowing this horse has been over further than 2,000, there's no doubts about his stoutness and the fact that he's got early speed, that he can lay up and everything. So I'm going into the Derby with high hopes of him turning the tables on Sun Jury this time. But the gate is very important. The gate draw from the 2,000 can make the difference to winning or losing.
And what about your other three horses in the race? For those watching in Australia, New Zealand, watching this show, who should they be looking out for from the other three?
Well, Helene Paragon is really started to come on nicely. He will peak Derby Day, as Alan Aitken reminded us that he clocked very, very good sectionals, which were comparable to Collection Days, who won the Derby. So he's right on target. And then we go to Victory Magic, raced in Melbourne. Last start, got to the front, looked as though he was going to win Facile, and like a lot of Savabiles, turned it up 50 metres before the post and got beat. But with Zach Purton aboard, Zach no doubt has watched the replays many, many times, and I'm sure he'll be producing him very late on the scene, you know, in the straight on Derby Day. Moving on to White Magic. White Magic, if we're going to make a comparison between Helene Paragon and him, I would think White Magic would be about a month behind.
I can tell you're excited about this race. 4 chances, 4 decent chances.
Well, to go out, you know, a year ago or whenever, George and I, and here we are given good budgets to buy horses that owners, please buy us Derby horses, right? To go out and get the job done in the first instance, to be able to buy horses that have group form, and then be able to nurture them right through with this fantastic team I've got behind me, the more stable team, and get them, you know, to Derby Day is really something. To get them qualified, to get them to see if we can peak them on the day, is really hard work. But we've managed to do it. We've got 4 runners, and we're going in there, as I said, not with just one chance. We're going in there with a few chances of winning our 5th Derby.
We wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
A supremely confident John Moore talking to Doug Chalmers about the chances of Werther, who is currently the 2nd favourite in early markets for the Derby behind Giovanni Canaletto. In recent days, I've been catching up with some familiar faces to people here in Hong Kong, talking about the Derby and finding out who they like for this year's renewal.
Well, the horse that's really taken my eye, Edward, is a horse called Giovanni Canaletto. I thought he's paraded really nicely. He's a horse that's got a fair bit of scope about him. He's a really laid-back horse in the parade, and he does look like, you know, he would really appreciate the extra ground. I've been quite taken by him on looks. I know he's had a recent trial, and you know, it was a bit questionable, I suppose. So hopefully that was a one-off, and it was on the all-weather. Happy to forgive him for that, but I think overall, you know, he's the horse that's really taken my eye.
Well, I think we can boil it down to just a few, but I've a sneaking suspicion that Eastern Express might turn out to be the horse peaking at the right time. He's a little bit young. John Size has told us that a number of times, but he will stay, and I think there is a little bit of a doubt about some of the others. So he races on pace, makes his own luck. I think he's certainly a great chance and probably a little bit better odds than some of the others.
Well, Edward, I think really the horse to beat is Sunjury. He's won the first 2 legs of the 4-year-old series. He's looking to become the first horse to win the 4-year-old Triple Crown. And he's going to be very hard to beat. Obviously, there's a question mark over the 2,000 metres, but he's done nothing wrong, and he's clearly the horse to beat. However, Helene Paragon and Giovanni Canaletto have particularly good form from overseas at the highest level. Both horses really seem to be coming along at the right time in preparation for the Derby. Their last start efforts, both of them, was terrific, particularly Helene Paragon. He reminded me so much of Akeed Mafid before he came out and won the Derby. So I think they're primarily the 2 dangers. I'll be going with those 2 because I think there will be a solid pace in the Derby, and that will suit Giovanni Canaletto to win from Helene Paragon. I don't see there a great deal in it in the end, and Sunjury will be battling on as he does, and he'll be 3rd, beaten not far at all.
I think it's a pretty open race, as it always is, but I like the way Giovanni Canaletto finished off last time out. Noticeable that Joe Moreira wants to stick with him. I think that's a real positive. Slight concern was the fact that he looked like he was almost going to be a St. Leger horse before he came here back in Europe, which would suggest he's not sharp enough even for the Derby here. But I like the way he finished off last time out. He hit the line strong. I think he's got to be a reasonable chance against the 2 obvious favourites in Sunjury and Werther.
Well, I'm going to go with the former European galloper Giovanni Canaletto after quite a bit of deliberation, because they all finished in a bit of a heap, didn't they, in the Classic Cup. But I think he will definitely come on for the extra 200 metres on offer. And a lot will depend on the barrier draw as well. Feasible cases can be made for all 5 of those horses who finished very close in the Classic Cup. And I think Giovanni Canaletto will be much better even further than 2,000 metres. But I think he was finishing really strongly. And if he gets a good barrier draw and can lay a little bit closer to the pace and really kick on in the closing stages off a good pace, I think he's got a very, very, very strong chance. So he's the one for me.
I'm an Eastern Express man. Aside from the fact that he's already gone the Derby trip and is a winner, course and distance, I thought he was close to the pace in the Classic Cup. Ran well, stayed on well. We know he'll get the trip when a lot have that question mark. I thought it was a really great effort in the Classic Cup. I've liked what I've seen. Trained on well. Eastern Express.
So plenty of people talking up the chances of Giovanni Canaletto and Eastern Express in the big race, the Hong Kong Derby. That's all we've got time for on our preview of this race. Join us on Sunday for what's going to be a super day of racing at Sha Tin. And for all the lead-up news, log on to hkjc.com. I'm Edward Sadler. Thanks for your company today.